So in the previous video, I had explained how both Sri Ramakrishna and Shardama had a tough time bringing their mind down to the human plane. Their minds had a natural tendency to be absorbed in God consciousness, in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and so they had to put a tremendous effort to bring it down to the human plane so that they could talk to devotees and help them and solve their problems. Now, this tendency of the mind to soar high and remain absorbed in the thoughts and in the consciousness of God is applicable to all the sages I represent on the spiritual bee. They all had to put a tremendous effort to bring their mind down for our sake. Only to help us, they used to climb down to our level. Otherwise, their minds were naturally absorbed in God consciousness. Now you may ask, Didi, what do you mean by a climb down? How do rishis bring their mind down to our level? Can you explain this point a little more? So let me give you an example. It's a very practical example and you'll understand what I mean when I say that a rishi has to bring his mind down to our level. So as many of you know, I live in Mumbai. I live in a building, and at the bottom of our building is a small garden, and usually in the evening everybody collects over there and sits with their friends. So one day I too had gone down in my building and I was sitting on the bench in the evening and I was chit-chatting with my friend and we were both enjoying our conversation. So as I was sitting on the bench talking to my friend, a little girl aged 8 or 9 years came running to me and she was crying and her hand was completely red. She was like, "Auntie, I've hurt myself." But she hadn't got hurt or anything. What she was doing was playing a game. And what she had done was she had taken a paper napkin, soaked it in water, and from her house she had brought a bottle of paint, red paint, and she had applied it with a brush on the napkin. And then she had stuck the napkin on her hand, and in this way she was stimulating a wound. I don't know what TV serial she had seen, but this was the game she was playing. So she came and she put her hand out and she's telling me, "See what has happened to my hand." And of course she was pretending to be hurt. So I too played along. I was like, "Oh my God, that is so awful. Should I call a doctor? Where is your mother? Let me take you home." And she was just looking at my reaction and giggling. She was just giggling because she wanted to get this scary reaction out of me. So she, after some time, just burst out laughing and she was like, "Auntie, I fooled you. It's just a paper napkin." And I had to tell her, "Oh my God, you're such a clever kid. Who would have thought? You fooled me. I never knew it's a paper napkin." And then she ran off. Okay, she ran off. And then her friend came with the same thing. And he's like, "Auntie, see, I've hurt my hand." And I had to do the same, the same charade again. I had to give the same reaction again. It was like a repeat performance. And after he had left, a third kid came. And believe me, I was like, I really wanted to go home at that point. I was like, how do I bring my mind down from the adult state where I want to talk to my friend and pretend to enjoy this little kid's game, which was quite silly, but I had to, bring my mind down. I had to focus my attention. I had to bring my consciousness down and pretend to be a kid myself so that these kids could enjoy my reaction. So this is what I mean by bringing your consciousness down. You want to be absorbed in the adult conversation. You want to be absorbed in what your friend is telling you and you want to listen to her. But you have to break that absorption and then pretend to enjoy this little game that these kids are playing. So it's very difficult, for adults to actually bring their mind down to the level of a child, and it's difficult to keep it absorbed in that state for very long. Like, how many kids can you cater to? After the third kid, I was thinking of going home. I said, I cannot keep up with this anymore. So this is a similar kind of trouble that Sri Ramakrishna and Shardama took for us. They had no need to bring their mind down from its high plane and focus on our troubles, but they sacrificed the pleasure of staying absorbed in God consciousness to redeem us. They came to save us, to help us cross the Bhav Sagar, this ocean of life which is full of turmoils and difficulties. So this is the extent of their sacrifice, because the state of God consciousness is an extremely joyful, blissful, peaceful state. If you put together all the worldly pleasures, if you put together all the joys that we get from material things, that we get from pursuing sensory pleasures, all these joys, if we sum them together, they would still pale in comparison to the joy one feels in being united with God, who is our best and most sincere friend. This is why in the Khandan Bhav Bandhan Aarti that Swami Vivekananda wrote about Sri Ramakrishna, and this Aarti is equally applicable to Shardama. In this Aarti, he has described them as Karunaghan, a mass of infinite compassion, infinite love, empathy, sympathy, so kind and loving that they leave their absorption in this joyous state of God consciousness and climb down to our low level of human consciousness so that they can solve our problems, so that they can help us, their children. So I hope this discussion helps you understand what a sacrifice rishis make for us, the way we have to climb down to the level of a child to make the child feel happy and to make the child feel comforted, the way we have to become children ourselves in order to participate in their games, in order to become their friend. In the same way, a rishi has to climb down in consciousness and come down to our level in order to redeem us, in order to help us out of our difficulties. So I hope that this conversation has been helpful to you. I'm Pulkit Mathur, founder of the Spiritual Bee, and on today's occasion of the Jayanti of Sri Ramakrishna, please consider making an Anshdan, a donation, at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, Shardama and Swami Vivekananda, so that our foundation can make more content on the Holy Trio, and this way more and more people from around the world can connect with these three divine gurus, help others connect with Sri Ramakrishna, Shardama and Swami Vivekananda. Help our foundation take the teachings of these three divine gurus to other people. Help us take their teachings and spread them across the world. This is our mission. This is our goal. So help others climb aboard the raft that Sri Ramakrishna, Shardama and Swami Vivekananda have made, so that all can cross this Bhav Sagar. The Holy Trio took birth with the aim of ferrying souls across this Bhav Sagar of life, a terrible ocean of turmoil and difficulty. And by getting on the boat of Sri Ramakrishna, Shardama and Swami Vivekananda, so many people can save themselves from drowning. So give your Anshdan today, make a donation today. All the funds that come into the Spiritual Bee Foundation go into propagating the Advait Vedanta teachings of our great rishis. So take care, and we'll meet again in the next discussion.